beautiful humans. My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin' the Tea, where we what, girl?
Where we sip the tea and our guests spill that tea.
Yeah, I did it today.
You did. You didn't leave me hanging. Thank
I
God.
want to leave you hanging. We got Miss Mama.
And we have little Glitty, but she didn't want to come out of her bag, so she's sleeping.
And right before we introduce our guest, I wanted to remind everyone that this is also available as audio wherever you stream your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, here, there, and everywhere. So that was a little taste of who our guest is. The track is called Lust, and it's, I don't think the intentional writing of it was what it turned out to be, given the times that we're in. So we are from across the pond in London. Conrad, what is up, my brother? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Really happy to be here.
Of course, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Okay, well, we're going to just go ahead and dive on in. So 2020, it's been I'm going to say interesting year for everybody across the world. And, we want to focus on the positive just because there is so much negativity happening, and kind of just, what's been some positive takeaways that you've had with this whole quarantine 2020 experience of this interesting year?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty mad one for everyone. And obviously, being in the music industry, it's been particularly not ideal, let's say inconvenient for people playing live shows and recording music. But you know what, there is nice things that come out of it. Like I think even just during the lockdown period, spending more time with the people who you're with, who you live with, who you're close with, is something that you don't always get time to do. I live with my girlfriend, and we spent obviously a huge amount of time because we were locked down together. But it's been really nice to actually get to do that. And then I feel like, I don't know if it's the same over the pond in the States, but there's become like this growing trend now since we're like creeping out of lockdown. Things were like, that you weren't allowed to go to the pub, you weren't allowed to go for dinner first, but you were allowed to meet up in a park. And fortunately, very unusually in the UK, the weather's actually been really favourable for us over the last like 4 or 5 months, really. And now, like, it's just like everyone's going to the park. Like, you go to the park any night of the week, and it's full of people like you. And I feel like everyone's spending more quality time with their friends, because you sit down in the park and you actually talk and you see each other. Whereas like if you go out to a club or something, what we probably normally would have done, you don't get to have that. So I feel like that's it's been nice.
Genuine communication with people.
Yeah,
refreshing.
I think that's definitely. And for me, I've felt like sometimes it's hard to find the time to actually sit back and think about what you've achieved, what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do. So it's been rubbish. Everybody's had a rubbish time, but I'm trying to now think about, right, what am I doing now? When we get out of this, how am I going to come out of this stronger? You reassess and you start looking to build on what you've already achieved. So I can't hate on it too much.
I agree. I think that's one thing that's being kind of congruent across everyone we've spoken to is like, yes, there's peaks, troughs, and valleys during this madness.
Yeah.
But I love that concept of the park. I was like, the weather's being nice. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, I think maybe it's different in LA because it's always nice, but like in England, especially in England, right? It's so temperamental, the weather. Like you could even be out in the park, and then like literally, this happened to me at the weekend. We were out drinking we were actually by the beach. I was camping this weekend with some friends, and it was fine. The weather was fine, and literally it was dark, so we couldn't even see the clouds come over, and it was like torrential rain, like the biggest storm ever, just like that, gone. All the nice weather's gone, and then that's it. And that's just what we get even throughout summer. It's been awful. To be fair, yesterday was horrible, but today it's actually sunny again.
Well, there we go. I mean, the blessings of the ups and downs of the weather, life, all this shit going on.
2020.
I want to talk about your single Lust, because the inception when it came out was about the breakup of a very long-term relationship and being those emotions that go through, and like all of a sudden you're kind of just floating through life. Now fast forward from when it was released to everybody pretty much floating for the last God knows how long. I feel like those lyrics, that's how Ari and I found you. I was like, you have to listen to this track.
Yeah.
And she listened to it and she goes,
so good.
What the hell?
Thank you.
It's like kind of captures like lockdown. How is that, how is that kind of evolution of the track been received, because I feel like it's had a whole new life to it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? We had the plan to release it around this time. It's been locked in for like 6 or 7, or no, well, now it was locked in like 6 or 7 months before it came out,
Right.
which was obviously like right smack bang in the middle of lockdown when it came out.
Yeah.
And there was kind of I think you'll probably have heard this from other artists. Like a lot of people pushed stuff back. So a lot of artists just were like, you know what, I'm not going to do this because you can't do you can't do the big tour around it. You can't get out there and play it to people. People aren't going to receive it as well. It's not going to get as many streams, whatever. But because like listening to it and you're sat there and you're like, this is actually how I feel now. I wrote this song a year ago and I felt like this for a completely different reason. And now everyone suddenly feels like that. I felt like, as a songwriter, you want people to connect with what you're talking about and what you're singing about. And I felt like I had to get it out because it made so much sense that, not everybody's been in the same situation in terms of, having a long-term relationship and coming out, but pretty much everyone in the world was in that same situation. And as if people are connecting with it and it's like people can enjoy it and feel it and they feel like they understand the lyrics, however they're interpreting the song, I'm happy that they can interpret it that way, and the more people that connect with it, the better it is for me, really.
Yeah, music is like therapy, whether it's you're listening and taking it in or you're the person behind it who's writing it and stuff. It's like such a great way to express, and with your song, so many people can relate to that. But like with previous songs before, where does like your inspiration come from? What drives your music?
I mean, there's so many things that happen, day to day. I'm a writer that I'm quite observational, and so I like sit on my phone and write notes all the time. So I'll be like on the tube and I'll see something happen, I'll sit and write it down, or like something will just pop into my head and I'll just be sat writing it down in my notes, and then I'll get into the session to write it, and I'll have all of these random things which like kind of make it's literally sometimes like 3 words, but that could be the whole concept of the song. Like for example, No God, which was the single that I put out before. The actual whole concept behind that song was all behind kind of like how badly we treat the earth, and like, so no God would ever plan this. But the way that we wanted to tell the story was as though you were in like a really rubbish relationship, and it was like how, because then when someone listens to it, everyone has probably, at some point in their life had a bit of a rubbish relationship that they can really relate to those lyrics. But the actual meaning that gave me the idea for the whole song was about how badly we have a relationship with the place that we live.
I like that. It's kind of like your lyrical things taken this. The world is moving so on this axle. It's like all your songs, and I listened to the catalog, and I was like, you could like interpret this for any moment in time.
Yeah,
right now. So it's kind of dope.
Yeah, I kind of like being a little bit ambiguous, and like using different metaphors for things, because it makes it open, and then somebody can listen to it and have their own whole story for what I'm saying. Yeah. And someone else can listen to it, have a completely different story for how they feel when they listen to the song, and I love it.
I love that. I mean, the power of music. That leads into kind of the discussion of like, you're taking your personal experiences, relationships, life, the environment per se. So let's talk about, Corona, COVID, lockdown, all of that, but the kind of racial reset of the world that we're in right now, and like a conversation, and I guess how you see your role, as I am a white man as well, how you see your role as that playing into your music. Is that something you want to touch on and bring into what comes next per se?
Yeah, I mean, I live in a massively multicultural city, right? I live in London. I've got so many friends and collaborators and people that I spend time with of different races and different ethnicities. And this whole time has been like, so like, it's been so crazy to be like feeling like you want to do so much to try and put what's wrong right, but it's like hundreds of years of things which are wrong, right? So all I can do now is try and help as much as I can in any kind of way that I possibly can. And so if that is me getting in a room and trying to write something which can somehow I don't know, talk about these like really horrible things to do with, injustices in different races and things like that, then I would love to. there's obviously the side of not wanting to get it wrong because it's such an important thing. So perhaps it will be a case of working with some of my friends. I've got really, really close friends who are also musicians who are Black, and I would love to collaborate with them on something which would mean something to them as much as it would mean to me. And then it's not just me as a white person trying to say this and that. It comes from us both having like the same ideas for what we want things to be in the future.
I really appreciate what you just said, because I had that conversation with Ari as well, and I'm like, I feel like I'm in support of listening and understanding.
Yeah,
however,
learning.
I'm not. It's so tough for every kind of.
I think it's tough for everybody when you really take a step back, just because if somebody's trying to support and if you say the wrong thing, then it's like, I said this wrong or I did this wrong. And I think just in general with the world and life, I think that we all just need to listen and not listen to respond, but listen and say like, maybe I don't agree with you, but I hear you.
Yeah.
We don't all have to be on the same page, because if we all talk the same, walk the same, and look the same, the world will be very boring. So you're going to always, there's never going to be a right answer. You just have to do what's right for yourself. And I feel like you can't change the world, but you can do the best with yourself. So
yeah,
that's just my take on it.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. So we have to ask you if there was somebody, whether they're alive or dead, that you would love to collab with.
Oh, this is such a tough question. It's such a tough one. I love John Legend. He's a huge sort of a reason that I sort of became a musician was listening to like Ordinary People and stuff like that when I was a little bit younger, and just jamming out to that. So I would love to work with John Legend. And also I feel like, you know, he's a big artist, but there's also like songwriters that I know of that I would just love to work with. Jimmy Napes, songwriter that works a lot with Sam Smith, and oh my, it's just amazing. So I would love to work with him. I've got so many people, Labyrinth, James Blake. There's so many people that I would just love to work with.
Put it out there. You got to manifest it. Say everybody.
I would say James and Sam. Those two artists are kind of, I get that vibe from you, and those two artists are superstars. I was like, we got to get this Conrad right now, because when lockdown's done, 2021 is going to pop for your ass. And I'll be like, remember when you were on our show? Come on now.
Yeah.
Right?
The next single actually that's coming out, which I'm sure we'll get to, is something that I took a lot of influence from James Blake on.
Love that. I love that. I want to kind of talk that progression. I know the live component has been sucked out during this moment, but you've had a lot of big moments in 2019 next to Stevie Wonder, and you know, even through Instagram with John Legend like calling you out with the cover and all of this. So there's these like big stepping stones of people that are so part of this pop culture moment. What does that feel like as somebody that's like, this is my career and this is where I'm headed, to have that kind of like tick? I mean, Elton John, there's so many like big names that have been like, yes. So it's like, how does that feel as somebody like, whoa?
Yeah, it's pretty mad, to be honest. But you know, just like everything, you have these like ups and downs, and those are the things that really keep you going, because there'll be so many things which you feel disappointed about as an artist, and there's always, you want more streams, or you want more playlists, or you want to sell more tickets, or you know, you want to do all of these things because that's what is being a good artist and being a successful artist. But then when you have successful artists then sort of giving you a little nudge, being like, what you're doing is really good, by the way, like you know, Elton playing it on his show and things like that, that was for me really the things that keep me moving forward, wanting to now progress and get the next thing and the next thing, until I'm at the point where maybe, you know, I'm sat next to Elton and Elton's like, these are amazing, like you know, you just always want to get more. But yeah, it's really cool to get the support, and I just hope that it continues with the ones that I've already got it from, and obviously even more.
Yeah, I think you said it so good, because it's like, I think a lot of times we're always trying to reach like the mountain, but we don't enjoy the process, because it's like once you get there, it's like you're going to want more. So it's about having, you know, the ups and downs, because without the downs, how do you have like the amazing moments? You know, like you have to kind of go through that process. So, I mean, you said it perfectly. So what's next for you, with music, any projects? Yeah, spill the tea on what you're working on.
Yeah. So, as I said, because we use this time for a little bit of a reset and to like work out what is coming next. Because we've got songs which are ready. I've got songs which I've written, which I love, and which kind of follow suit on the story of what we've already put out. Because the idea was that we wanted to have this EP out this year. Things have slowed down a little bit, just obviously because we've not released when we wanted to quite, and we've not been able to do the shows. But the original plan was that, the first 3 songs that we've got out so far with the label that I've signed to Twin was Blue Blooded being the first one. Those were all part of the EP, and also the songs which are coming next are still part of that EP. They're all part of that body of work. But what we decided is that realistically, because of the time that we're in, it probably makes sense to just give them their own little spotlight as well. So even though I wrote them all within the same piece and they are part of the same project, we just want to now just give people the song to really digest. And then once all the songs are out, we can sort of wrap it together as an EP. But immediately, we're working on like loads of new video content. We really want to smash like all the visual side of what I'm doing. Had a really amazing photo shoot with a great team yesterday. So really like pushing forward on socials and stuff like that. And then looking forward to the end of September. Maybe it's probably going to fall into October now, realistically, because everything always pushes back further than they say. Yeah. I've got another single coming out. This is the first time I've actually announced it at all on anything.
Ooh,
it's called,
spilling the tea.
Yeah, exactly. It's called High Horse. I love it. I really do love the song. I really hope that people are going to love it as much as I do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm really excited for that. And hopefully we might be able to squeeze another song in before the end of the year.
Let's get it.
And maybe even get some shows going as well. We don't know. It's just so hard to exactly plan things. We're already planning now some more shows for next year as well. So we're literally starting to look into spring next year. Maybe I'll be able to get some shows then, because I had my headline show, which was supposed to be a really, really nice venue in London called Amira. That got postponed in May because of coronavirus. It literally, the week we went into lockdown, it was supposed to be that Friday. And so we pushed it to the end of July, and obviously that didn't happen. So now we've pushed it again to the end of November, and we still don't know if that's going to happen. So if that doesn't happen, then we're just going to be like, right, we just need to push it out even further so that hopefully we'll be back to a kind of normal place by then for live shows, just before the festival season. So maybe I'll try and squeeze some more shows in around the place, and I'd love to get back out to LA once we can and play a few more shows there.
Bring it over.
Right, come on over. But you were talking about like things getting back to normal. Have you thought about doing like shows via, like, I guess people are like doing this new thing where it's like concerts via IG Live or whatever, or where fans can pay to come like watch your concert. Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, definitely does. It takes a little bit of production, and that's something we are working on. So if you watch this space on that, we are definitely, the ball is rolling on getting it done. Probably going to try and get it to time well with the next single. So we're not too far off that. I've been doing some bits and bobs on Instagram, some covers, some live, like doing like a little live gig from home on the piano and stuff like that. But when we do the proper one, I want it to sound and look amazing, not just me sat with my phone at the piano, which is nice, but it's not the same. You know, people want a show, and I want to be able to get my band together. I miss playing with them, and go through a proper set.
I love that. That's a real musician. That's a real star in the making, because that to me is like, you want to deliver the quality and put the music with the context of the vibe and the feeling. So it's a different world out there, but I feel like you're on the straight and narrow, and I'm excited to see where this goes for you, man. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're all just trying to adapt and figure this crazy thing called life out.
Do a TV show from a webcam now, and was
right.
like,
you adapt. We went from studio to now, but look, we wouldn't have been able to have you on because it's true. It's a cool way. Like, even you got to find like the wins and positive out of a negative situation. So even though it can be hard sometimes, So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. So just whatever comes to your mind, boom. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So 3 words that describe you.
Sorry, what was that? I actually missed that.
3 words that describe you.
Chilled. Driven. And excitable.
Nice.
Okay.
What's the craziest DM you've ever received? There we go. Whatever you thought of.
No, because I actually had one which was so nice the other day, but for me it felt crazy. It was like the craziest thing because someone just out of the blue. It started with you're not. I bet you're not going to read this. And so obviously I read it, but it was a big long message, and it basically said like I came across you because of Spotify Discover or whatever it's called, and I normally listen to super famous pop people, but yours is the best music I've ever heard, and you really inspired me. So I've actually started writing my own music, and I can't give you enough praise, and please just keep doing what you're doing because it means a huge amount to me. And I was like, that like blew my mind because you don't even think that.
Wow.
And like for me, that was the craziest one I've ever had because it's like that meant a huge amount to me.
I love
That's
that.
dope. I thought when you laughed, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I was waiting for something else, but that's super dope though. Late nights or mornings?
Oh, late nights every day. I'm terrible in the morning.
All right. Well, then let's wrap it up with if you could teach one subject in school, what would that be?
It would have to be biology. You know, I studied biology at uni, so I think I would be letting myself down if I didn't do that.
There you go.
Ooh, that's dope.
There's some tea, some music, some biology. There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, for everybody who is living under a rock, let everyone know where they can follow you at, listen to your music, and just watch your space and your journey.
So social-wise, I'm at Conrad Sounds on everything. Like you can hit that on youtube.com/Conrad Sounds, facebook.com/ anything. You can find me on Conrad Sounds, and then on you know all streaming platforms. I'm just Conrad, but I think it's in capital letters.
Yeah.
Nice. Where can everybody follow you at, Mr. Matt?
They can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983. And what about you, Lady Love?
You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew, and we will catch you guys same time, same place of another special edition of Sippin' the Tea.
Tell me, I'm losing my head, medicating, just trying to forget my way down to earth, so I don't feel how it hurts. No, I won't look down. All the memories of us I tried to block out, but they all be massive gorgeous, yeah, they're so loud. Stuck on you.